Good afternoon, I'm Katherine Thornton.
My name is Christopher Phelps.
And today we're going to be talking about what we've done this year at our Self-Access Centre at Otemon University, both moving online quite quickly in April and then also partially back to in-person services from September. So we're going to be talking about this and giving some suggestions and some insights from what we've learned over the last 9 months or so. So first of all, let me tell you a little bit about our Self-Access Centre. It's called ECO, English Café at Otemon, and it's been open since 2013. ECO focuses on learner autonomy and language proficiency. So we help our students to learn mainly English, but also more and more other languages, and also on international exchange. And a lot of Otemon students start their university with not having had particularly successful or enjoyable experience with English in the past. So part of our mission is also to try to create more positive attitudes towards language learning and international exchange. We do this in a number of ways. Firstly, through providing academic support. So Chris and I are the two full-time teachers and advisors at ECO. So I offer an advising service, and both Chris and I run conversation sessions, courses and workshops. And within the centre, there are lots of opportunities for students to use their target languages, both in structured sessions and more informally with us and with each other. And at ECO, we're firm believers that learning is a very much a social endeavour. So we also see that students learn a lot from each other, with each other, and are also greatly motivated by each other. So it's important for us to build community among the users of ECO. We do that in a number of ways. So through the physical layout of the space, through providing as many opportunities as we can for students from different countries and different backgrounds, different majors to interact and make friends with each other. And we also have an active student volunteer group and student facilitators who run some of our sessions. ECO is a self-access centre across 2 facilities. So we have 2 campuses, and this new campus opened last year. And this experience has given us some experience of some kind of remote working prior to 2020. So we've actually been offering limited online conversation sessions in vacation since 2018, although these were never particularly popular. And what with the new campus opening, we've had to get used to communicating across campuses. So we do this mainly using the Slack project communication app, both within both between the 3 of us as full-timers and also with our student staff. And these experiences proved quite useful when it came to starting an online version of ECO from the spring this year. And Chris is going to go on and talk about that.
Okay, so as Catherine previously mentioned, for the purposes of this presentation, we divided our services into 2 main types. So those that offer academic support and those that build our community. And on the academic support side, we're talking about English practice, which is a one-on-one 20-minute session. Group conversation, so that would be things like easy chat, and we'll talk about that later. Workshops and courses, which would be various educational, cultural, language-based group activities. And finally, advising, which would be one-on-one 40-minute sessions talking about study goals and learning strategies. And on the community building side, we'd have peer chat, social media, and student staff meetings, all of which we'll cover later. And we also have Ryugakusei chat, which would meet somewhere between both of these. So for academic support, English practice, workshops and courses, and advising all went and were shifted online. EasyChat was a little bit more complicated. EasyChat is a community group activity, usually led by Ryugakusei, but last semester we made it, because we weren't sure how it would go online, we made it more teacher-led. And in EasyChat, we usually use dice, board games, card games, these kind of things. So these also had to be made usable, converted to be used online. And you can see here we have this dice activity that was made into a macro-enabled PowerPoint. So as for our student staff, in 2019, we had 28 members over 2 campuses, and they would take part in things such as counter shifts and space maintenance, for example, making posters, that kind of thing. Also, lots of different face-to-face events. But this year, because of coronavirus, we felt it wouldn't be necessarily fair to add that extra stress on our members, or perhaps they wouldn't be used to working online and comfortable with that. So we gave them the option of being either active or sleeping members. Those who remained active members took part in online meetings, kind of tea time social events. We kept them motivated that way, and they also did various different online activities, quizzes and that kind of thing. So instead of doing the counter shifts, our student staff suggested to us that we run a new activity in its place called Peer Chat. So Peer Chat was a social session aimed at new users, and it was run every day at lunchtime. And the good part about Peer Chat was it enabled new users to make friends, so they would be able to meet their senpai despite not actually going to the campus itself. And with Peer Chat, it was decided that any language could be used, and it would be to talk about university life. So it didn't necessarily had to be done in English. On the social media side, so Instagram is completely controlled by our student staff. They use the DMs to get in contact with first years. So first years are able to contact student staff directly. They also post up lots of introductions. So introductions of student staff, but also regular users. And aside from this, they'll also be doing lots of promotion, like workshops and other services that we run at ECO. And this would really just be replicating the kind of communication that they would naturally be doing at ECO. Other social media we use, like Twitter, this would be more teacher-led. We mainly did this for like visibility. So because we're not able to talk to students face-to-face easily at the moment, we used these kind of idiomatic posts on Instagram to keep, on Twitter, to keep ECO at the top of students' feeds. And so they're aware of the kind of activities we're doing. We also used hashtags so that other Otemon accounts would be able to find our posts and retweet them. Ryugakusei chat was one of our most popular activities. So we invited former exchange students to participate in online sessions. And of course, the Ryugakusei themselves were really happy to do this because they were able to sort of rekindle the relationship they had with ECO and meet some of their old friends. And the good part of this, it was really encouraged international exchange, and it helped keep our community alive. So now Catherine's going to talk about the hybrid model that we moved to in the autumn semester.
Yes, so thanks, Chris. Since September, the university has decided to go partially back on campus, and ECO has had to readapt to this hybrid model. And this is what we're going to focus on for the rest of the presentation. So the university decided to keep classes over 100 and first-comer classes first thing in the morning online, but other classes, so these are classes under 100 students, as long as they can be in classrooms at no more than 50% capacity, are now back on campus. Anyone coming on campus, as you might expect, has to wear a mask. There's regular temperature checks at the entrance, and lots of hand sanitizer everywhere. So right now, over 50% of our classes are actually happening on campus. And in terms of extracurricular activities, so which includes clubs as well as places like ECO, as long as infection prevention measures are taken, which includes moving things online in some cases, these extracurricular activities can take place. But they need to be approved, and that meant going through a risk assessment procedure. So we had to submit documents to the university about that. So in those documents, we had to explain how we would be safeguarding the space. So there's lots of plastic screens everywhere these days. We've removed a lot of the chairs and reduced the capacity of both our spaces. And we have lots of open windows and quite a chilly, certainly in the case of the middle picture here, quite a chilly ECO at the moment in some cases. We also have some contact tracing measures in place. So when a student comes to ECO for the first time, we ask them to sign a space use agreement, which tells them about how we expect them to behave in the space. And then every time they visit, we ask them to record their visit using the card reader, and we also fill in an online form about them too. So we always know who's in the space. There are quite a few restrictions on our activities, as you can imagine. So as Chris said, we have no counter services. So although we're working at the counter, students are not. We can't do group sessions or big parties or gatherings in the space. So all these are still online. In terms of the staff working patterns, the three of us are still working 2 days a week from home, which means there's a limit to what we can do on campus, especially when we're covering two different facilities. And we've had to increase the amount of time we spend doing counter duties and space maintenance because students are no longer available to do that. We can only open the counter for a short time. And we tend to offer online sessions in the morning when students are at home, and face-to-face sessions are offered in the afternoon, although online is still possible.
So just to summarize the services that we do offer. So as you can see, most of these are online. However, some of the one-on-one sessions and some of the smaller workshops where we can run it in a larger space that's well ventilated, these are offered face-to-face as well. So for group conversation, this would be things like Easy Chat. We've moved these from being teacher-led to being student-run, and we're experimenting with seeding students. So we have some paid student staff who are being put into these sessions, and that's really just in case anybody does come. It feels a little bit more lively. However, we're finding these aren't very popular sessions. It's usually 1 or 2 people, especially the midday is not that popular. And to counteract this, we're going to try to experiment with putting all the sessions on at 10 o'clock in the morning. English practice, although we are offering it face-to-face, in practice we're finding that only a few students are opting for those face-to-face sessions. In fact, it's only 20% of the sessions are face-to-face. We've also added a 5-minute gap between sessions so that we can move from online to face-to-face when it's necessary.
In terms of promoting international exchange, so in some of the Easy Chat sessions that Chris mentioned, international students are now running some of those sessions now. And we also have a new teletandem pilot program, which is starting with one of our Australian partner schools. So we're able to do some activities, but everything there is still online. So just to tell you a little bit about how it's been going. So as you can see from here, and maybe unsurprisingly, our services have been less popular than they would be in normal years. PR has been very difficult and getting the word out to students. But we have seen a promising increase in the number of people doing one-to-one English practice conversation sessions. So there's something to be pleased about there, I think. So we'd just like to finish with some suggestions based on our own experiences.
So I think it's important to simplify the schedule as much as possible. At Otemon, we're working on 3 different schedules, and it can get quite complicated, not only for the students, but also for us. In order to deal with this, we're trying, like we said, we're trying to do things like move the Easy Chat schedule to the same time every day. So it's easier for students to understand what activities are happening and when. Also, kind of following on from that point, it's important to fit the schedule to student schedules. So obviously it's important to think about when their lessons are in relation to our own activities. And finally, it's good to have clear lines of communication for students. So let them know that there are multiple ways to contact us, whether that's on SNS through DMs or email, or even by telephone. And then following on from that, it's important to be checking these regularly.
Yeah, another thing that we've done, as Chris talked about, is supporting our online sessions by having student staff join those sessions. So this gives those students a chance to meet new users that they may not otherwise do. And we've also recently recruited some new student staff from our first-year students. So although these first-year students don't know ECO as well as they would in normal year, I was very, very worried that we'd go into next year and our our student staff would all be 3rd and 4th years. So we wanted to make sure that we had some continuity and some 2nd years there. And also at the moment, we're looking at how we can offer orientations for 2nd year students next year. So this will mean quite a lot of work for us if we end up orienting both 1st and 2nd year students at the same time. But those 2nd years really didn't get a proper introduction to eco, so we're looking at how we can offer that in next year too. Okay, so that's everything from us. So we hope this has been useful for you, and we're looking forward to the Q&A and to hear about your experiences too. So thank you very much.
Thank you.